Hello everyone. Today I got three more fantastic horror books for you guys to read. These ones might be under your radar, but I guarantee you want to get on all of these because these are all fantastic. They are all horrifying in their own way, and they'll make you squirm and give you the chills, you know. I absolutely loved all three. Before we get started, a reminder that I have horror books for sale at the link in the description. You can find those ones you saw on your screen and others as well. And if you want to join my Patreon, I got free horror stories every month, free horror books from other authors every month, and you get all my books for free and all my future books for free. So if you want to help support the channel, consider signing up for the Patreon. Link in the description. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called The Lamb. This one takes a subject we're all familiar with, but does something really different with it. This is about a woman and her young pre-teenage daughter. They live in the woods away from civilization. That's all they've known is isolation. The girl gets to go to school, but her mother has very specific rules for her when she does, and you'll read about those. Well, basically, her mother has issues, mental issues, and that becomes evident as the story goes on. But the main way they live is they wait for people to get lost hikers or injured hikers. Sometimes the mother will sabotage the highway out past their woods, so tires get blown out, so people will have to wander around looking for help. And when they come up on their house seeking help, they suffer a very brutal fate because the mother and this daughter are cannibals. They live on human flesh. So when somebody makes their way to their house for help, they get murdered, they get butchered, and they get eaten. Now, the thing that makes this book different is that we're looking at this through the eyes of the little girl. And you know, a cannibalistic little girl might sound more extreme than what this one is, but this is the only thing she's known. All of her life, she's just trying to make her mother happy, but because her mother has very severe mental issues, her mother is addicted to human flesh. Like, she doesn't want anything else to eat, and when her hunger gets too much, she takes it out on the daughter, and the daughter thinks she did something wrong. It's a classic case of abuse, except in this case with cannibalism involved. One day a woman shows up to the door, and they call these people that come to their door, her mother calls them strays, saying that she knows the ones that they need to eat because they're empty inside. They don't have any purpose or goals in life. That's what her mother tells the daughter. So one day a woman shows up named Eden, and they think she's just going to be another stray. And they're hungry, so good for them, you know. But that's not going to be the case, because Eden turns out to be something else. She is like them. Like, she doesn't flinch at all when the mother eventually shows her how they live and what they have to do to survive. As a matter of fact, she's very much into it and tries to help hone the process so they can all live together. She becomes part of their family unit. Her mother and this woman fall in love, and this woman has a big influence over the mother. And that becomes obvious as the mother starts pushing away the daughter in favor of this new member of the family, this woman. And pretty soon the daughter is kind of pushed to the side, and when things start getting scarce, when food starts getting scarce, they start looking at the daughter like she is going to be their next meal. And all this is going on in a very claustrophobic environment, you know, because it all takes place in this house, in this small little patch of land they have, and it makes for a terrifying, bloody, gruesome read, let me tell you. But it also has a lot of emotional heart to it, because of course you're dealing with this child. She doesn't know any better, and she doesn't have any friends. She's not allowed any social interactions. She can't leave that their little homestead there. And so yeah, it becomes psychologically terrifying, and then of course there's a lot of blood and gore because obviously they're killing and eating people. Yeah, but this one is fantastic. It builds the tension. It paced very well, of course, and it's just a story. Once you get into it, you'll just have to keep reading to find out exactly how this is going to turn out. Are they actually going to eat the daughter? You have to read about it for yourself, and I will leave a link down below where you can pick up your copy through Amazon. And next we have Words of Christ in Red. This is a small town religious horror book. And it is brutal, it is bloody, and it's about a pastor. He's taking over a church in a small town. The last pastor that was there, the older pastor, he died, and at the beginning of this book, we're going to find out how he died, and that's pretty horrific. But this pastor comes in, and he's aware it's a small town. They're set in their ways, but he doesn't realize how much. Because the leader of the parishioners, I guess you can say, the one who's actually in charge, he and his followers, the majority of the congregation, like their God a certain way. They like him hellfire and brimstone. They like their God homophobic. They like him xenophobic. They like him misogynist. It's a very old school kind of thing that they like. And this pastor's not into it. He wants to see inclusion. He wants to see diversity. He wants to see God's love in action. And that is not going to sit right with this group. And pretty soon, tensions are going to build, boil over. Some pretty brutal things are going to happen. And it becomes this battle between this pastor and members of his own congregation who are trying to actually kill him because of his preaching God's love, because they don't want it that way. And there are some other elements involved, some other characters that are really going to play a part, but you'll have to read about that. But this book is, as I said, it is bloody, and it does get very gruesome at times, because these people are committed to their version of God, and nothing will stop them from stopping this man from trying to, what they consider, perverting the Word of God. And so things are going to get very, very violent and very, very tense. And yeah, you're going to have to read about how all that plays out, but it's not going to end well for some people. Let me put it that way. Yeah, this one is great. Of course, I loved it. Highly recommend it. And there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy through Amazon. And next we have Inanimate Things Volume 2. This is an anthology, a really, really great anthology, by the way. Because this one, the authors were tasked. And one thing I like about anthologies like this, multi-author anthologies, is because I can find authors I've never read before. And just reading some of these stories in here from different authors I've never heard of makes me think, yeah, I would buy their books. I would buy the rest of their stuff, because these stories are so brilliantly written. And kudos to the authors and, of course, to the editor for picking these stories and putting them in what I think is a really the right order. And basically, this whole book, the subject is about things that are cursed, everyday objects that are possessed, that can bring psychological and physical harm and terror to a person. And all of these things are so, they're mundane. They're things ordinary. They're things you might not even give a second glance to in the real world. And yet these authors put this terrifying spin on it so you never look at them the same way again. We're talking Halloween decorations. We're talking postcards. We're even talking candy. Like a little bowl of candy you see at a reception's desk, like in a doctor's, lawyer's office or whatever. There's a story in there that's going to change your perception of how you see that forever. Trust me on that. And all of these stories just, the thing I liked about it was that these authors took that theme and went nuts with it. Like, it's sometimes anthologies that have a certain theme, the stories can be kind of the same-ish, you know? But these authors all did something different. Like they went out to left field and right field and sometimes twisted tropes on their heads. Some of these stories are psychologically horrifying, and some of them are bloody and brutal, in your face, you know. And so there's no matter what kind of horror you like, you're going to find stuff in here that you will absolutely love. Yeah, this one was absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite anthologies of the year. It's just these mundane things just having these horrific effects on people. And I absolutely love that, making the ordinary horrific. I mean, what more do you want, you know? This one is fantastic. Of course, I highly recommend it. And yes, there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy in the description. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.